Hello, everybody. Darwin Fortuna here from Flow Design Architects. Today, I'm going to bring you something really interesting and important for you to learn. We're going to talk today about scope creep. Right here, you see it right there. It's when, for some bizarre reason, you end up doing more than what you were supposed to be doing from the very beginning. And why does it happen? I'll tell you a couple of reasons why it happens. One, not a clear contract. There isn't a clear contract. That contract is going to trigger confusion and ambiguity. And if there's ambiguity, you will never know when you're done. You will never know what you're supposed to be doing, and you'll never know, if you're in the right path. You would just be lost. So not having a right contract. The other thing is not having a mutual understanding of the contract between the owner and you as the person rendering the services. Okay. The other thing is, poor training of the staff members that are rendering the services. If they are not trained properly by you, who are in management, you're in charge of training them. If you're not training them correctly, they're not gonna know what's going on, and they're gonna start putting more items, what I call it, on the shopping cart, right? In the shopping cart, you keep getting apples, and then they just walk right out of the market with all the apples, and they got unlimited apples because the staff members weren't properly trained to be able to mitigate the situation and how to go about it. So today we're going to resolve that problem really quickly. Okay. So how we're going to do it? First, we're going to show a sample of how it happened, when it happened, and then I'm going to tell you how I will go about it if I was to do it differently. Step number one, reading the contract. So we were hired to do exactly as we were supposed to be doing here. Basis of intent. It says, we understand you would like us to design the renovation of your new house to be a modern home, more representative of your clean, modern look. You would like to remove and replace existing garage doors with new modern ones, change the existing deck to have glass or cable railings and guardrail, the existing window area above sides of entrances to be either one big one or two big ones, the same span width of the existing, but black and modern. The center entrance part, you would like to do an additional vegetable area that would span from the first floor all the way up to the roof to tie the entire space together. Stairs from the basement to the second floor would be of floating style and modern. Additionally, the existing ground floor closet is to be removed in order to create an open concept. You want the entire first floor to flow and be open. The master bedroom lacks closet space, and you would want us to reconfigure it or adapt it by taking space from the master closet as needed. The master bedroom. Okay, well, I think I said something weird there, but you have expressed the desire to have this built as soon as possible. So a couple of things. Scope is very clearly defined. Yes, very clearly defined. There's some things that could have been better defined, but hey, I wanted to give you a little bit of a background. This project is in a rush. We got hired early March, and we need to be done with the project by April 1st. It is March 12th right now. So this is happening right now. So we got to move. We can't just be going back and forth in the negotiation, because then I'm not going to be able to deliver, and then I'm not going to be able to do that. Flow design, we always do a 4-step process. If you're familiar with it, you probably know about all of that. We always do an existing conditions. We need to understand what the existing conditions of the property are. And we know what the basement looks like. Here it is. So there's some work that needs to be done on the front hallway entrance. There's a little closet that needs to be removed. Garage doors that need to be changed. Windows that need to be changed. That's about it. Oh, the stairs need to be floating. That's it. There is issues with this master closet being too small. So we got to figure out how to gain more space from the bathroom to give it to the master closet. That's it. That's it. That was all we were asked to do at the upper level. And then, the outside decks, which we don't show here, need to have modern railings and things like that. And the outside of the house, we want to give it a little facelift, things like that. That's very straightforward, very clear, very thorough. I'll tell you a couple of things. This client has done work with us before. There was an issue. There was an error by our property surveyor who was off by about 5 feet. This client remembered that there was an issue there, and we fixed it. We got it fixed. But he remembered that error. Clients will remember any error you've ever made, and they will use it against you. So this guy was like, please be fair with the price. Remember, there was issues with the surveyor, which is nothing to do with me. Nothing to do with me. Nothing to do with me. But anyway, and it was fixed. It is what it is. Things are not so, drawings are not supposed to be perfect. But that's it. He was very thorough about this. I sent a contract. You read that contract, but I want to show you something. I sent one contract for one fee. Then I sent another contract with another fee. Then I sent another contract with another fee. He was nickeling and diming on the cost of the project. He wanted it for free, basically. So we made a commitment. We said, well, listen, we're not going to do a whole lot. We're going to do a little. We're going to move forward. You have some base plans that the realtor provided when you bought this property. We're going to use those as a base, and it's going to save us a little bit of time. We still have to measure it because we still have to do our job properly. So, but I'll save you a little bit. So we saved a little bit of money to that client. We made a commitment. Here's the agreement. That's the agreement. That was what we're supposed to be doing. The project then gets handed out to a designer. I don't do the design from step 1 to step 4 in our design process. I literally do the contract, review the schematic lightly to make sure it's consistent to code and all that stuff, and then review the final permit set. So nothing really ever makes it out of here without being compliant with codes and regulations and things like that. Like, I have to be responsible for it. So our 4-step design process is part of me being responsible. I designed the process. So I designed the process. They follow the process. This is under my responsible control. They've been trained to follow my steps. So that's it. Then a little routinary review of the communications of the project, which I do with everything. Don't ever think I don't check everything, because I do. And I was looking at it and I was like, okay, so first floor, I know exactly what we're supposed to be doing. So let me just, first floor. Okay. So actually it's time for the basement. So I understand that the basement stairs need to be floating. So that needs to be changed. Great. Is there something else here? I have no idea what it is. Okay. Didn't pay much attention to it. Let's go to the next one. All right. So I want to see work at the front. This removed, and windows to be changed. And I want windows to be changed, and I want doors to be changed. What am I seeing here? Okay, windows are good. Front bump out area, yeah, you need an entrance, so you got to do that. Floating stairs, okay, good. Why am I seeing a different kitchen layout? Why am I seeing this wall removed? Why am I seeing a deck at the back of this? Why am I seeing a deck at the left of this? Why am I seeing a little pantry design? This is way over the scope of the project. As soon as I looked at this, I was like, and why do I have a fireplace in here? This is way over our budget. Way over our budget. We were not supposed to do that. Why am I seeing a deck entrance in front of this? Right? Like what happened? Like, where'd it go? Where'd it come from? I don't know. So a couple things happened. Again, because I have trained my people properly. But this particular client is well known within our company. So they were like, you know what? Likely Darwin and Mr. John Doe are going to resolve it together. They'll figure it out. When in doubt, always ask. So I think that's a bad way of going about it. Don't ever think I already have an agreement with the client that's other than this agreement. That's the only one agreement that we have. If anything changes, I will immediately put it in writing. So because the project is in a rush and our design team wants to meet the needs of the client within the timeline, they just went with the flow and started doing things, adding things, moving things. Keep in mind, although I try to always relate projects to like commodities and shopping and items and things like that, the rendering of architectural services, it's something very intangible. It's really difficult to quantify, right? So, you go shopping and you say, you know what, I want 3 pencils. And they're like, well, they're $5 each. Oh, that's 15. I only have $10. Well, you got to drop 1 pencil and you got to just get 2. You can't get the 3, right? In design, it's something that happens and so fluid and so fun and so cool. And, the designer really just wants to do this really awesome stuff and, just start adding things to the scope. And clients lose sight of the value of the design services because they appear to be easy. They appear to be well done. And honestly, architecture and well done design has to appear to be easy. It has to appear to be easy, right? To be very well done and very beautiful and very cohesive, it has to appear to be easy. But it is not easy. So I look at this and I immediately immediately, well, connected with the designer in charge of the project, and I literally recited, we were supposed to do this, we did this, what happened, right? And I want the designer to say, hey, what I hope to hear is, yeah, the client has agreed to additional services. We haven't resolved the amount. They call this, by the way, in construction change directive, which is the client saying, I want that. I don't care how much it costs. I'll pay for it later. We'll settle it later. That's a construction change directive, CCD. But there's a fee to it. There's also change orders. That construction change directive is actually a change order. It's just that the amount hasn't been settled. It becomes a change order as soon as the amount has been settled, right? So there's also minor changes in the work, like adding a little window here or adding a little door there. That's a minor change. I don't charge for that stuff. I don't worry about that stuff. But none of this is actually a minor change. None of this. This right here, we knew we were gonna have to do a beam that was gonna need to go here because there was a closet that likely was a carrying closet. But taking this wall down means that we need to do another beam here that will then support this beam and transfer all the loads down. That's a structurally significant change. Having to do all of this design work and framing work for that deck, and having to do all of this for that deck, and having to do all of that structural work for that deck, that's a lot, all right? Just so you know, there's something that always, most of the time it happens. Most of the time it happens. I think about 99% of the time, let's say 90. Clients will belittle the work at the negotiation stage, and will then increase the intensity or necessity of the project and the importance of it, depending on how much they need it because of other reasons. Let's say they have a loan on the property and they're losing a lot of money because they don't have time, they don't have the drawings on time, and so they will exercise urgency on the importance of the project. They will very rarely equate the amount of energy and the amount of importance, like at the negotiations. Like they never will value everything the same way. They're just not gonna do that. They're not hardwired to do that. So now this client belittled the work at the beginning and said, I only want 3-4 things. That's it. That's all I want, Darwin. Come on, lower the budget. So that's why we have 4 contracts. Lower the budget. 4 contracts. Like, what the heck? Like, lower the budget, Darwin. Come on, it's too expensive. I only have this much, They will do all kinds of tricks to belittle the work. The moment they get in the middle of it and start changing things, they will lose sight of the importance and the meaning of all of the items that were added. In this particular case, the client was like, well, I don't need the deck anymore, because I called the client already. I don't need the deck. Take the deck down. And then I'm going to go back to why it's a problem relating the 3 pencils shopping from the design services. It's completely different, because this is something tangible that you can see. This seems to be intangible and hard to quantify. So it's like, take the deck off, show the wall here, because I still have a beam there. Don't worry about that. Like, I'll do that without you, and I will do that. And it's like, don't you wish, like, after you get a speeding ticket, if you ever did, that you could go back in time and undo something that you've already done? No, you can't do it like that, right? So this client is saying, well, no, I don't want that. I don't know why he did it with me on the go and dragged and dropped the deck. I mean, that was a second, Darwin. That was just a second, Darwin. So you're saying that the design flow, the value that we created, I mean, if I gave you an idea in a direction within 1 second that will make you $1 billion, how much would that idea in that second be worth? It will be worth a lot. It will be worth a lot, because you're not making that in anything else. So they devalue the worth of the project after they've already seen it. It's like giving the pizza, eating it, and then say, well, that was a horrible pizza. It's like, well, when you were eating the pizza, you didn't think it was bad. You ate the whole thing, right? So, I always try to make these analogies to make things clear, because it's not commonly known and understood. Design services are something very difficult, very, very difficult. When well done, looks almost like perfectly like fluid, and like it just was born like that, but it wasn't. So in the flow of the moment, designing this deck and adding this deck in here was an additional service that happened on the go. The client didn't know. The client probably didn't know that it was an additional service, but the designer didn't know that he was adding onto the project. And if he did, he was also doing it for the betterment of the project. So at the end of the day, I don't want to say, hey, the designer was just adding work and following procedures. No. They know that we want to render the best services that we could possibly render, within the budget and the timeline. So now the client's telling me, no, just take the deck off, take this deck off, don't put the beam there. And I'm like, I still have to charge you for this. It was done. It's like, well, don't do it in the construction document stage. And I was like, listen, you could just fire me right now and do the project. You don't need me for this anymore. We've already given you something called intellectual property, intellectual value. So after you've already seen it, you cannot unsee it. This is why, like, a lot of companies like Tesla and all that, like, they have patents, they have all these things, because there's intellectual value, intellectual property. So now the clients say, no, I no longer want the deck. I no longer want the beam. I no longer want this. I no longer want it. And I'm like, well, it's too late. Like, I use the sample of the 3 pencils at $5 each, and they only can afford $10, so 2 pencils. The thing is, he didn't just go to the register with the apples and he wants to return some of them. He ate the apples. He literally ate the apples. This is it. We redesigned the kitchen. We redesigned the first floor. And then look at this. We also redesigned the entire master bedroom and master walk-in closet and his and hers. None of that was included. He was perplexed when I was talking to him on the phone, like, oh yeah. And I'm like, this is an additional service, right? Yeah, but this. Okay, I get it. I understand. And then he goes back to, the previous project, it was about $10,000, right? And I'm like, I don't want to talk about the previous project. I want to talk about this project. Inflation 3 years ago was a different story. Inflation today is another story. That was 3 years ago. I don't want to talk about it. Out of mind, out of sight. All right. If I owe you a favor, I'll throw a window into your project. Yeah, I'll put a window there. I design a window. Done. I'm not going to redesign an entire house for free. So look at all the things we did for this particular client. If they find me on the, scope creep, we'll have to figure it out. But again, the whole purpose of the video is to tell you that there are moments where changes happen either because the client initiates them or you initiate them. If you initiate them as a designer, because I'm talking to designers here, you got to let them know right on the spot, hey, this may be an additional service. I have to clear it with my boss. Use that. Even if you are the owner of the firm, say, I have to clear it with my boss. Blame the boss. I don't care. If it's me, the boss, then I'll blame it on Marcos. He's another boss. Blame it on somebody else. Blame it on the office manager. We have an invisible office manager here at the office. We blame everything on the office manager. That's the best one. Actually, it's funny because it's true. Some people are like, who's the office manager? It's like, there's no office manager. But look, we redesigned the entire house. Now the client is like, oh, wait a minute. Like, I don't want that. I don't want this. I don't want that. I don't want this. We redesigned the entire house. Does this contract ever says that we are doing the entire house? Does this contract ever say anywhere that we're redesigning the entire house? No, we're not. So I want designers to be mindful of scope creep. Don't let the fact like that design comes easy and that's what you love and that's what you do, like, make you render things for free. You're not a slave. Slavery is long gone. You're here to render services and you're here to get paid for those services. The moment you start doing more, this is not a bank, so I can't ask the teller to give me money back. So I would just get very upset. So this video is to train everybody here at Flow Design Architects to know, hey, these are additional services, and you got to let the client know that these are additional services. And you prior to even triggering it, put a note and say, you know what, I'm gonna want to do this, but let me clear it with the owner, and then I'm gonna do it. If the principal clears it, if the office manager clears it, I will do the negotiations. That's why I don't get involved with the design process itself as much. I get involved with the technical side because I don't want to I want you as a designer to have a very fluid relationship with the client, no friction. I want to have the friction. I welcome the friction. I like the friction. You guys know that. So I'm all good with it. But I want you to have a frictionless process. You have to say, hey, this may be an additional service. I don't know how much and I don't know how long. We'll have to run it by the owner. You want me to proceed? We don't know the cost. Then that turns into a change directive, construction change directive. They say, yeah, go ahead. You just go ahead and you do it. And they know they're going to have to pay for it. I don't like that. I like to, prior to that, quantify what you need to do, how long you think it's going to take you, talk to Darwin Fortuna or Marco Severino, whoever is running the office at that moment. And they'll get a fee. They'll get paid first, because after you've already done it, it's impossible to collect it. That's another learning. After you've already done it, it's almost impossible to collect it. What are the next steps? He can say, nope, I'm not going to pay you. And I'm going to take the drawings and I'm out. They already ate the apples. There's not like a, loss prevention. Here it's loss prevention here, Like they put the clothes on from Macy's and left with the clothes on, right? I'm loss prevention, right? And you're supposed to have a really good relationship with the client, customer service, right? All that stuff. So, but I'm gonna summarize it and end it real quick. We're gonna settle it. There's gonna be an amount. There's gonna be a change order. That's gonna certainly happen. But I'm gonna explain a couple of things. One, learn that clients are gonna undermine design services at the beginning when they're in the negotiation step. But after the negotiation step has ended and they already have a contract with you, they're gonna try to add more for free. They're gonna try to do that. Unfortunately, most clients are not fair. I've dealt with over 1,000 projects and I've dealt with over 1,000 people, and most clients are not fair. All right. So it's your job to stick to your guns, right? So after don't render services without getting approval from it, because you're not gonna get paid afterwards. Let them know that it may include additional services. It may incur additional services to be determined. If they want to proceed, I will quantify it, and after I quantify it, I'll send an invoice. And after they pay the invoice, we'll proceed with the services. Okay, hope that helps. Scope creep is something that happens all the time. It happens because authorities having jurisdiction change the laws. It happens because we want to change it. It happens because we think it's a good idea. There are projects that I would render additional services for free because it's gonna make for a really badass project that's gonna win me awards and I'm gonna win. I should never use the word free. Free is the enemy of architecture. Use the word fee. Everything for a fee. No, nothing for free. Everything for a fee. I'll do it. Right? Because with a fee, you feed your family, you feed your children, you buy a house, you buy a nice car, you go on vacation. For free, you get nothing. And companies go bankrupt because of it. So not trying to spread fear here. With a tremendous amount of additional services, we hope that the project makes it into magazines and I can justify some of the fees, and the client's certainly not going to settle for the amounts that I think it's going to be worth. And we're going to have arguments, and I'm going to try to settle it because I want to have a good client that will let us then take pictures of the project and we'll be happy. So you as a designer, watch out. Me as a manager, watch out. And this is exactly what I did. I do this with every project, believe it or not. I look at every project. Every single project. I want you as a designer to also look at the project, look at the contract, and tell me, hey, Darwin, this is an additional service. What should I do about it? Right? The best relationships I have within the company are the people that understand that design is not free and that things cost money. They get to have a really good relationship with me because I value their time, they value my time, and they understand that they can't ask for raises if we're just giving services for free. You can't ask for anything. You're just handing out services for free, right? You have to justify your worth, okay? So this client, that what he did, I don't want to think that he did it on purpose, but he did. So now he has to pay for it, all right? And now he's undermining the services. I wish you would listen to the whole conversation, but he wants to undermine the services. The services cannot be undermined, right? You ate the cake, you pay for it, okay? And in fact, that you charge double for the fact that you did it without telling me. Because that's abuse. That's not the kind of relationship we want to have with anybody. But that's it. It's a little bit of my fault as a manager. It's a little bit of the fault of the designer involved with the project. And it's certainly a big part of the fault of the client, right? So the best solution is to settle it with a good amount that everybody feels happy about. Thank you. Watch. Everybody here at Flow Design is mandatory to watch this video. Please take your time. It's paid time. Just watch it. Thank you. Bye-bye.